And we're live. Welcome, guys, to a different kind of show tonight where I'm going to be putting the spotlight more on myself. So it is community questions. You guys have sent in some questions which I've got preloaded on here, on X, and on TikTok. So I've ruled out the ones which sort of are the crossover ones. We'll be going over them, and obviously join the chat live, and you can have your say tonight on the show. Literally, it can be anything. It can be about me, it can be about Manchester United, it can be about the channel, whatever we want to talk about. Let's get the inside scoop on what United Lens is, what my view was, who I am as a person, to a degree. I won't be going in obviously into family. But yeah, no, just come and have your say. I put a post out on the community page on YouTube for the United Lens where, let's just say Trevor Wade took over the questions, probably took most questions out of people's mouths, but he sent in plenty of good questions worth talking about. And then, yeah, I've got a few which I'll probably start with off of TikTok. They're quite generic kind of questions, which I wasn't surprised I got them. And yeah, just join in, guys. So what I'm going to do, I will put the YouTube questions up. I'll split the screen, put the YouTube questions up so everyone can see them. And the rest of them, I will just do off my phone, unfortunately. I thought I was quite good with tech, but I don't want to be sharing my screen with my TikToks and everything like that because obviously you see my side of things as well. And I'd like to keep some of my information personal for as long as I can. So let's get the first question out of the way. Unfortunately, it's a user name and number, and it is on TikTok. And it is basically what made me call United Lens the United Lens. Like I said, some of the first questions are going to be very generic, but hey, you'll get to know. So yeah, in answer to that, the first question is why the United Lens is called the United Lens. Well, at first I was trying to think of anything that could go with United. Like any of us, when it's a Manchester United channel, you want something that is about the club, but at the same time, something that involves how you see the club. And I thought, well, however we view majority of us, although some of us can get 75,000 in our ground, a lot of us just see through the TV and we see through our own eyes. And when I was growing up, football was all about how it was seen through your eyes. It didn't matter. I grew up with the newspapers, no social media, no nothing like that. So it was their view versus what I actually saw with my eyes, be it on Match of the Day, Sky Sports, or within the ground. So I thought, well, we see it through the camera, hence United Lens of the camera. But the play on the words for me was always going to be based around how I see it. No fluff, no clickbait. I can't stand that kind of thing that we see on a lot of channels. I get it. They have to put content out every day. But I was raised in a way of if you've got nothing good to say, don't say anything at all. So don't create something that's not true. So yeah, United Lens is how I see it, as in through my lenses of my glasses, whatever you want to interpret it as. It was just wordplay. So it was as simple as that. The next question from the same user on TikTok was, what do I bring to watching football? I think that's what they meant. Obviously, I'm guessing their English isn't their first. What do I... Bear with me. What do I feel I bring when I'm watching football? So it means about how I see football. I've been a United fan since I was born. I don't remember anything different. My stepdad was a United fan. My granddad was a Sheffield Wednesday fan. Those were my choices. Both were top flight at the time. I chose United. Couldn't give you a reason why. But I soon found one. Didn't take long to find Brian Robson, and then after that, it was obviously growing up, Eric Cantona, people like that, because that's who I am and that's my age. But the first goal I remember for Man United was Mark Hughes' side volley against Barcelona in the white kit. Literally, it's the first footballing memory I remember of any kind of goal or anything from Man United, and having that first jumping out your seat kind of moment. So yeah, I've been supporting them that long, but also I was lucky as a kid. I trained with Brighton Hove Albion. Totally different kind of thing. I actually got kicked out of just before my YTS. So that's why I do youth coaching now, so I can teach youngsters not to make the same sort of emotional reaction decisions like I did. I actually hit one of the keepers. He went on to have a play for Brighton and Hove Albion in the Championship as he got older. My only saving grace, he was voted the worst goalkeeper ever to play for Brighton and Hove Albion. So I'll take some things out of that. I left there at 15. I went to train with my local side, Worthing. They said I was too weak for men's football in their division. Went to local leagues, came back, played reserve team football, semi-professional level, and yeah, then joined many a county club up until I ruined my ACL. So I see it from being coached, being a coach, and being a fan. I feel I have a lot to bring to that side of the understanding of decisions. Sometimes you see things differently because you might have been in that situation as a player. One of the things I can't stand for, I see on a lot of channels. Oh, I'm a real going match fan. I'm a real United fan because I go to Old Trafford. Well, I can tell you, I have played football with some absolute die-hard fans who couldn't go to games because, like myself, we were too busy getting paid to play. So we couldn't be at the games because we were earning a second income playing football. Why should that make us any less of a fan? You know, we had to go home and guarantee we saw as much of the game as possible. You know, so that's one of my pet hates about the football channels you see out now. We all know about the Nottingham Forest fan that owns the biggest Man United channel there is going. Whether that's true or not, I don't care. He brings out Man United content. And there's a few others which I question how much they actually know about the channel. There's a load of fake AI channels out there that's just putting out content because they know you will click on it. It is that simple. So, yeah, looking at some of the other ones, I think sort of Trevor sort of covered them. They're sort of about the managers who I would pick, things like that, who I would buy in the summer window. So I think what I'm going to do is, I think if I add this up here, scroll. So this is straight off my community page on YouTube. All I've done is scroll. You can see, just scroll straight down to the comments. Trevor Wade's put a few in. We've got Iron Titanium, which is Bilal. And is there anyone else? Not on here. So we'll work through these. And if anyone else comes in the chat, they come in the chat. If not, it's going to be a very short video tonight. I understand Champions League's on, so that makes a big difference. But that's not going to stop me from putting content out there, guys. You know, I really appreciate anyone who comes on, watches this back at a later date. But if you're not already following, please hit subscribe, like the video. All helps me out big time with such a small channel. But you know what you're going to get from me. All you're going to get is pure honesty. And that's all I ask from my fans. If you like the channel, hit the like, hit the subscribe. If you can hype the video, even better in your area. Okay. So first question, Trevor Wade. I'm probably just going to refer to him as Trev. Okay. Out of all Carrick's coaching staff, who would you keep if he didn't get the job? For me, Hojlund and Evans. That's a really hard question. Steve Hojlund, hands down, worth keeping at any time. What he done at Chelsea, what I've seen of him do on Coach's Corner videos he's put out when he was with England. He was the mastermind behind Southgate's coaching, from what I've heard and what I've seen. So England semi-final, England finals. It's his tactics. It's him shoring up the back. So 100% I would keep Hojlund. I understand why you've put that there. Johnny Evans is a weird one. I would keep the goalkeeping coach we've just changed. I always forget his name, but it is David De Gea's old goalkeeping coach. So I would definitely keep him. And yeah, Woodgate, no. You know, if Carrick went, he's his number 2, so I expect him to go. Evans could stay, I suppose, but maybe I'd put him down in the 18s or the 21s to keep going. But you know, if he keeps coming up with all these set pieces that are creating chances at the moment, but Carrick said it, a lot of it is on him. Not everything. He's not doing it on his own, but a lot of it is. Some of it's also on. Is it Banyan? They're doing it together. The 21 coach and 18s coach who stayed with the first team. A lot of it's on him. So yeah, I can't really go into any more detail on that. I think Steve Holland's a given. So some people might even say, even if Carrick doesn't get the job, we should keep Carrick as a coach. I don't see it happening unless we get a manager in that won't be bringing coaches with him, and that's the only option, maybe, to keep all of them a high-paid job at Manchester United. So, next question. I'll try not to give all the information for all the questions. Interesting question, this one. It's definitely been out there this week about Mason Mount. Would you keep or sell Mount in the summer? I really like Mason Mount. I think when he's fit, he brings something to the team other players don't have. Obviously, Champions League winner. You know, he's won titles and awards in Holland as well as the Championship. Obviously, Chelsea player, we know what he's done there. And that's probably one of the things that always will go against him, if we're honest. Just because he's a Chelsea fan, we're not the biggest fans of Mason Mount. But as a footballer, what he's done in an England shirt, he's just too similar to Luke Shaw. No wonder him and Luke Shaw are so close. They've obviously spent most of the time on the same injury list. So, but as Alex Ferguson used to say, the most important player is an available player, and Mason Mount doesn't tick that box. So, for me, I would. It's hard. I don't think anyone would come in for Mount, so I would take anything they offered to take him off our hands. What do we pay? 55 million. He's done 2 years. Ineos say if you fail in 2 years, then you should be got rid. They didn't get rid of him in the summer, which was his 2 years up. So I would get rid of him now. Because I think you have to be consistent. I think other players have not been given that benefit of the doubt. And although Mason Mount may have a Champions League medal he can hold up, I'm not sure he can hold it up. It'll probably hurt his arm. So yeah, I'll probably sell Mason Mount. I think he's great for the squad and what he can bring to that, but to the pitch, I don't think he brings much. Then on to Bilal. I'm Titanium 4230. Is defence a position we need to invest in, or should the force be solely in midfield? Interesting question. And I may pair this together because I've just seen the question below. So the next question does involve Harry Maguire. So I will answer this question without talking about Harry Maguire, just so we can add stuff to the next one. Left back, right back. I like Mazraoui, and I know he can play left back. He does it from Morocco when Hakimi plays at right back. Luke Shaw, although he's playing this season, let's be honest, if he plays all the games this season, we don't expect him to play next season because he'll be out injured. Malacia, Diego Leon, we've seen nothing of. And that's under three different managers have had the choice whether to put them on the pitch or start them or give them more than 5-10 minutes. And they haven't. So I would say left back's definitely a weakness. So should we invest in that? I'll say we should. Doesn't mean I think we will. Okay. Right back, Diego Dalot, always available. So going back to my previous question about Mount, just because he's available doesn't mean he's good. So that's the flip side to that. Whereas Mason Mount's not available, but I think he's a very good player. Let's see who else could play there. I think Lenny Euro could probably train up to be a tall right back. If he wanted to get more game time, I would certainly say look into that position. Defending the back post, he's got the height. He can travel with the ball. I've seen him play crossfield passes, so I wonder if he can whip a ball into the box. Slightly different, but same sort of technique. If you're going to play it from deep, whether he can create an overlap, that's the thing he would need to be taught. So yeah, that's just the fullback positions. Then we're on to Martinez. Now, if you saw my short I put out about 2 months ago now, it feels like it was, where Martinez was criticised regarding the Erling Haaland. His height is always an issue for me. And without Dalot as a secondary backup, we have Aiden Heaven who can replace Martinez, and I don't see much between them apart from the ball playing ability. So, and Heaven's got a lot to learn. He's only young, but Martinez has had, he's an ACL injury that could go again at any time. The more he plays, and he's only going to lose pace on pace, and we need pace at the back. Our right side is centre back is definitely where we're stacked at the moment in Dalot, Euro, and Maguire. So, in case it's there anything, we need a defender that has got some pace to him. I know we're always linked to Slotterbeck, but I don't think we would get him. And if we did, I think we'd have to pay through the roof. He's currently on €90,000 wages, or what's that, about 75,000 a week. He came to Man United, he'd be looking for 200,000. You know that, I know that. That's just sort of how it works. So is it somewhere we need to invest in? Yeah. We strengthened it in number, but not necessarily in quality over the last 2 seasons. But when it comes to midfield, obviously losing Casemiro, we know that's a given. I'm not careful how I phrase this so I don't upset people. Not that I worry about upsetting them, but so you don't get the wrong point. I'm not a fan of Kobe Mainoo in midfield as an 8 or a 6 because I don't see a sprint speed. I see a constant pace. I think he can run and last 90 minutes, but I don't think he has that pace to cover back quick enough. So that's a concern. It's one thing you can't teach. You either are fast or you're not. So we need a solid replacement for Casemiro. It's the most obvious thing out there that Man United will be in the market for a replacement for Casemiro. But if we get someone with pace, then maybe we can invest in midfield. If you get someone who can cover the ground, then that changes everything in a defensive formation. Because obviously they can go box to box, get back within 8 seconds from one box to the other. Happy days. I'm more than happy with that. So I hope that answers that question. Another one from Trevor. There will be a few. How How much money would it cost to replace Harry Maguire between experience, dominance, form, and Premier League proven ability? You would need to go a long way to find someone along those lines. I don't disagree. I had my say on Harry Maguire this week. I feel for anyone who has come back from the abuse, even myself gave him when he was captain, where he dropped off the planet as a defender. He was terrible. But took that armband off him. He steadied his ship. He came back. He focused on himself. He does his job. I feel like there probably is no better header of the ball in the box, attacking or defensive, in the Premier League than Harry Maguire. We all know and refer to him as having a magnetic head for everything, just seems to find it. Experience, with Leicester and with us. Dominance, very strong. We saw him manhandling many a player over the last few games. Why he's playing with confidence. So I would only say he's dominant when he's confident. His form, that's the one I don't necessarily agree with. Premier League proven, absolutely. I tried to think of a centre back that pops in my head who is like Harry Maguire. And unfortunately, the sort of names I was coming up with, people are saying Van Heck. People are saying Mickey van der Ven to replace Harry Maguire. Although I like both those centre-backs, in reference to this question, they're not a Harry Maguire. We are talking of Harry Maguire is very similar to an old school John Terry, Sergio Ramos, a put my body on the line kind of defender. I'll do what it takes. I'll have a fight. Whatever it takes to keep the ball out of the net. I wouldn't be surprised if I ever saw Harry Maguire give it one of those and tip it over the bar. Oh, I was going for the header kind of thing, if he had to. So I think you'll be looking at the same sort of money to replace Harry Maguire. I think you're looking at 80 to 100 million to get that Premier League proven. That's why it's so high. Premier League proven centre-back. But I don't see where we get him from. The only one that springs to my mind for my choice is Mickey van der Ven. But I would like to play Van der Ven alongside Harry Maguire. So Harry Maguire doesn't have to worry about getting back because Van der Ven's got that recovery pace. I would say about anywhere from 80 to 100 million to replace Harry Maguire. And it seems ridiculous, but let's be fair, we don't want to replace him with just anybody. I like Anderson at Fulham. I liked Gay, but obviously he's left-sided. Even when you see Tadibo play for West Ham, he's quite solid. West Ham might not be, but I think he's a good defender. I'm just sort of thinking through some of the teams. You're not going to get a Dunk. Heck is a good shout. Who else is there? We're not going to go above us. Yeah, I would struggle. I think we would have to go abroad. I'd probably look for an Italian defender. We all know the art of defending it comes from Italy, so maybe that's it. Right, next one from Trevor. To be fair, I should have put a sponsorship out for Trevor. He's pretty much made this show. So I can't thank you enough for your interaction with the channel, Trevor. So I know from doing other channels which you have been on with Tactical Devils and others, you're always there in the chat and you've always got something to say. So I'm sure you will come back on this video once you finish watching the Champions League. Name one manager you would have loved to have seen at United, but we never got over the line. Well, it depends who knows the stories to knowing whether this was true or not. So this will test United fans' knowledge. The manager which I am absolutely gutted we did not get over the line, but we inquired about it and did not pursue it. And those who know, Jurgen Klopp. Man United looked at Jurgen Klopp as a replacement for Alex Ferguson, and they thought it was too soon. He was at Borussia Dortmund. I don't think he'd been there that long, but he was very, very highly thought of and sought after. Sorry, thought of and sought after. There was a lot of teams looking around him. When he went into Liverpool, it was a massive coup. And to think what he did there over his time, what was it, 10 years? And what we've had over the last 15, 20 years. Jesus Christ, we messed up big time. You know, we could have had him. He would have played the United way. He would have been what the fans wanted. Would we be back at square one now? Maybe. But it would have probably changed our entire thing. So for me, Jurgen Klopp is the manager that got away. There's a few honorary mentions. Diego Simeone. Yeah, probably hate him, but what he went on to become as a manager, Jesus Christ, he's done bits for Atletico Madrid, and not necessarily with always much money to play with, but you know the Spanish league is a different kind of league to look at. Who else would I have had that we never got? Well, I can't remember. Was it Arsene Wenger that came out and said about it? Arsene Wenger was approached about being a replacement for Alex Ferguson as well. So that would have been a weird one if we'd brought him into United. But yeah, that'd probably be honorary mention. But for me, yeah, Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp was one hell of a manager. We all hate him because he went to Liverpool, but I saw a lot of him at Borussia Dortmund for those years. And if you look at Dortmund since he went, they've really struggled to replace him as a character, let alone as a coach. So, oh, sorry guys, I needed that. I think I'm coming down with one of those sore throats. You know, when it's just start getting that burning sensation in your throat. So, not good, but we will push on. Dilemma question. Bloody hell. Sell Dalot or bring back Rashford? Well, I'm going to open this up to all of you guys, okay? And Trevor, I'm going to put this question back in the comments, I think, on YouTube. I'm going to do it right now. I will pin it to the top. All right, let's have a quick. I'm trying to do this when I'm super zoomed in. Not the easiest thing to do. Let's go on in. Look, it's me. So let's get on here. And oh, that's going a bit funny because I'm trying to use two screens. It doesn't look right. I don't. Okay, I'll have to do it afterwards. I was thinking of posting it in the chat. Maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll just put it in the chat now. And I can save it afterwards. Let's pop that in there. Send it. That's me. And then I should pin that. All right, so that's going to stay there in the top of the chat for when anyone comes back and has a look. Let's get rid of that now. So, for the video's sake then, sell Dalot or bring back Rashford? Trevor, dilemma isn't even the right word for this question because most of the fan base would get rid of Dalot and most of the fan base don't want Rashford back. So, which would you do? So I'm guessing I'm gonna guess where you're going with this question, and you sort of didn't finish writing it. So it's either I can sell Dalot, but I have to bring back Rashford, or Rashford goes, but we have to keep Dalot. That's how I'm interpreting your question. And I'm going to shock people, although you haven't seen me say this on this channel, this was when I was on the Balls Out podcast and I was doing their shows. I would sell Dalot and I would bring back Marcus Rashford because of our lack of left wingers. If Rashford has been well enough coached under Hansi Flick, he's coming back under Michael Carrick currently. We don't know who the manager is going to be. I think you could get a good Rashford. He hasn't played every game for the last year. He's well rested. That means his shoulder injury is down. It could be pinnacle. It could be a real pinnacle decision on someone making that. But for me, although we would probably get more money for Rashford, I just want to see Dalot gone. I just want to see a proper right back. And at the end of the day, we don't have a left-sided player. So for me, it makes sense. I keep Rashford and I sell Dalot. Maybe I'm wrong. Guys, after the stream, come back in the comments afterwards. I will pin this also in the comments after the show is finished. Please come back. I'm really interested. This is a really good question, Trevor, because this is like saying, do I want $1 million in cash or do I want eternal life? You know, well, it's not even a million, $1 billion, $1 billion, $1 billion. Do I want that or do I want this? Great question. Absolutely great question. And do you know what? I'll probably clip that up and use that as one of my TikToks. I think that's a good question. Right, next question. Next question. I'm just having a look, see if anything's come through anywhere else. I can't see it. Bear with me 2 secs. Secondary choice of information comes out the phone. No. Okay, that's fine. So, following on really from 2 questions ago, if not Carrick, who, in your opinion, Mark, is the right candidate to take over at United right this very moment? And do you think you could have a totally different answer at the end of the season? Last part of that question, 100%. I'm not judging Michael Carrick until we have had the final whistle at Brighton and I have seen how those players are with my own eyes. I will be at that match. So when I've seen with my own eyes what those players are walking off that pitch like, because it's always very, very different when we see them at Old Trafford clapping the fans doing the lap. They know the cameras are on them. Although the cameras will be on them here, it will be interesting because where the away fans are down in the south lower section, or not south section, sorry, the lower section of the east stand, although it's referred to as the south stand, it is on the east. Where they are there, they'll have to walk right up to the other end of the pitch and be right in front of them. It's a very tight space, so it'll be interesting. But that's just going to see how they take them to however we finish. You know, we could be punching the air, guaranteed Champions League football at that point, which is what we all want. So yeah, I will not judge Michael Carrick. I don't expect him to take the job because I feel that I can't trust Ineos or the Glazers or anyone like that to give it to him for the right reasons. And what I mean by that is I want him to earn it because of his decisions, because of what he has planned. As if you were going to bring any other manager, he should be auditioning for that. Now, one reason why I feel we should not give it to Carrick, and we should draw the line, a lot of people have said this, is that we could get, let's say, Ancelotti, because let's say he's the biggest name in football management, probably left out there in my opinion. He's the only person I feel is a bigger and better manager than Pep Guardiola. And if you disagree with that, then I'm just going to tell you you're wrong. what Ancelotti's done for AC Milan, Real Madrid. He's now at Brazil. He's won trophies no different to Pep. But how many Champions Leagues has Pep got? No, so that's the one that we all judge football on in this day and age. We all judge it on the Champions League. So, if we had an Ancelotti, then Michael Carrick could just walk away. He'd know. He probably would know the manager coming in, because those are the kind of questions. If we are bringing someone in, do you want to stay on with him? Do you want to coach with him? Maybe those questions will be had. I would hope so, but that's where I don't trust Ineos. They could bring in Ancelotti, Ineos. They could do it. They could still buy him out of his contract. Don't think just because he signed a new contract with Brazil, that's great business from Brazil's point of view to get a load of money in. If he does decide he wants to go back into club football and come to Manchester United, these people think he won't be good in the Premier League because of what he done at Everton. I know some Everton fans, and they think it's the best manager they've had since David Moyes. Back in the original David Moyes, not necessarily where he is now. So yeah, very hard. But who's the right candidate? The right candidate is the guy who doesn't want the job for money. That's the only candidate we need. We want someone who wants the job to be Manchester United manager. We want someone who is a United fan, who wants to take Man United back to the Fergie days, to the Busby Babes, to bring back all that history. We all love Mourinho, but we know deep down Mourinho was there for money, and he's a diehard Chelsea fan. No matter what he says, now he just link himself with Man United because it gets the clicks. It gets that gets sent out there further for raising his profile as a manager. I'm trying to think of anyone else. Obviously you got Peps, you got your Jurgen Klopps, and all that. So that's all just people dreaming. So yeah, the right candidate probably for me is an Ancelotti. It's the only one I can think that fits. He fits what Manchester United Football Club that we support as fans. Ancelotti is the right guy. But we all think that Ineos will go with Gareth Southgate, and then we all stop going to the games and talk with our feet if that is the case, won't we? So yeah, that's a good question. I like that question. I like questions like that. It's sort of a what if. But yeah, Carrick will be judged by me after the final whistle of the season. I would implore the rest of you as a fan base, if you watch my content, use that kind of common sense as well. Carrick could go on and win every game. Yet if Arsenal bottom the league and Man City win it, or we finish second, or City and Arsenal slip up and we start catching them, let's be honest, it's been a terrible season in the Premier League. It's been a terrible season. There are some teams that are doing well, but at the same time, like Man United, Liverpool and that have lost some games they really shouldn't be losing. Same with Chelsea, same with Man City, and now Arsenal are having their moment. Oh, Trevor, Ten Hag or Amorim, who was more progressive? Well, if I took Ten Hag at Ajax and compared him to Ruben Amorim at Sporting, that would be a really hard question to answer. Really hard. Ten Hag's Ajax side was playing Dutch-style football, very, very quick, very aggressive, 1-2 touch passing. Amorim, Sporting, what he created, but he signed about 30 players to get the perfect team. We can all see what Gyökeres, exactly what I was saying in the summer, Gyökeres wouldn't work. Just because he's scoring loads of goals in the Portuguese league, he would struggle in the Premier League. At the end of the day, he wasn't a great championship striker. But Amorim's football And what he did in a Champions League with Sporting was very progressive as well. So if we put him in the Man United sweatbox, shall we call it, Ten Hag probably was the most progressive. He probably got the best out of the players he had, where Ruben Amorim, for whatever reason you want, the players basically couldn't do what he asked. People go on about Bruno playing in the 8 when he's a 10. Well, he was still creating, 8, 9 assists at that point from that position. So it wasn't exactly having a bad season. Ahmad, his job's not really changed. He's still a winger. Same with Dorgu. And Mbumo, he's playing through the middle currently, instead of which he was doing at times. Sesko's the only player really been dropped out of the team for an extra defender. So yeah, who's the more? But the more I think about it, I keep changing my mind. I'm going to say Ten Hag. I saw Ten Hag's vision. I saw the patterns, the one touch give and go. I even used a training drill, which was an Ajax one, which was shown on MUTV. That basically they called it a Ten Hag now, where you start with 2 players, 2 in the middle, 2 at the top, and it's a pass, reverse run, layoff, pass into the second person in the middle, and he lays it off the other side, reverse pass. And it's just a quick progression. But we saw Ajax doing it at sprinting speed, and we saw Man United in a pre-season tour in America, I think it was, before the Arsenal game in his first season, and they were struggling to do it. So that says a lot about our players more than the passing drill itself. So yeah, I would say Ten Hag was more progressive. What do you say? Let me know, guys. Let me know if you think Ten Hag was more progressive or Amorim. And what I would say is, don't judge it on what we did under that manager. Judge it on their formation and what you saw as a more progressive way that maybe Man United's players weren't capable of doing. Okay, so that's one thing to take into account. Are fans too easily pleased these days when reading padded stats on certain players? They would love at United. While stats are a great selling point, they are not the whole player. I hate stats. I hate stats with a passion. I've seen stats being spoken about by Wayne Rooney on his podcast recently. I think Paul Scholes and Nicky Butt was talking about them. I have certainly spoken about stat padding and how stats are bullshit. XG, the assists, things like that. So yeah, they are great. You can get a stat for anything. There is literally a stat for everything these days. Basically, it just means I wrote it down, so therefore I created a stat for it. The best stat you can have is the eye test. Don't have numbers, don't have facts, figures, anything like that. It's just, I tell you what, he could fit in. He's a hard worker. And I suppose that's the second part of the question, isn't it? Whilst that's a great selling point, they are not the whole player. No. How hard does he run? What does he give to the team? Is he willing to die for the team? Will he be willing to do that for Manchester United? That's always a good point to add in there. What you sometimes see them do, let's say Jeremie Frimpong. I am a massive Frimpong fan. I love the way he plays for Hojlund when he gets put in. I love how he was at Bayer Leverkusen. And that was under Alonso. Now, Frimpong's now come to Liverpool, and he's being more used as a Mo Salah replacement for a wing back. But under Ruben Amorim, he would have given anything to have had a Frimpong as a right wing back, because the guy can just attack and defend. So his stats were amazing, but now they count for nothing because you put him in a different formation. Same with Wirtz at Liverpool. He's another one of the biggest 10s creator of chances, blah, blah, blah. You put him in the Liverpool team and his stats are falling off a cliff. We have our own stat padder in Bruno Fernandes. Whether you like me saying that or not, I don't care. I do believe he stat pads. He plays a hell of a lot of 5-yard passes, simple passes, moving the ball sideways. So when he pays the Hojlund ball in behind on the diagonal and it goes wrong, it doesn't lower his stats passing average that much. You don't know what's in their contracts. They might be, if I have a passing average of this, I get a bonus at the end of the season. Because there's so many stats, there's so many ways to utilise that into contract negotiations as well. So, yeah, I do think fans are too easily pleased by some numbers. I remember Paul Scholes, probably one of the greatest passers of a ball we had from centre midfield ever at Man United. The amount of times we'd see him pick the ball up in midfield, ping a long diagonal out to a running David Beckham. Beckham just then curls one in behind the last defender, straight on to, say, Andy Cole's foot, 1-0. Now, although David Beckham has got the assist in the modern game, and it would have been a good ball in, the real assist is the 70-yard pass that puts him away. That vision, that accuracy. Well, that won't get recorded. There's no such stat for a pre-assist. You know, don't get me wrong. Opta have probably got pre-assist stats. You know, and it was only a 2 passing. It was one long ball, and they're giving the assist to the goalkeeper for the long ball. That gets flicked on, ricochets off a defender, which is an assist then, because if another player's touched it or influenced the run, the assist should be gone. That seems to have gone out the window. Apparently, it's an assist when you pass the ball to someone and they dribble around the whole team and score. That goes down as an assist because you played the pass. When I grew up, an assist was if you finished with a 1 or 2 touch finish. You know, you cross the ball, someone heads it in, that's an assist. But if you cross the ball, the defender touches it, miscontrols it, you take it off him and score, that's a solo goal. You know, let me know what you guys think. But I definitely think people are too easily pleased. One of the main reasons, and you know, maybe it's not great me saying this, doing a YouTube video, but because of the rise on YouTube channels and these stats, it gives them information to make videos when they can't talk about what they've actually seen. So when you're putting up video clips, and you don't really need to talk about the stats because you can do that. But when you don't know much about the player, you're looking at a 5-minute montage of their best bits. Well, what are their worst bits? Show me the 5-minute montage of their worst bits. Let me see a balanced view of the player. So yeah, for me, stats are pretty pointless. Right, so last question on here. Who is the most overrated and the most underrated player at Manchester United? Oof. Who's the most overrated and the most underrated player at Man United? This one I'm expecting answers back in the comments, guys. Trevor, this one's going to get pinned as well. You've given 2 good questions tonight that I really like. Really stimulate the thought process. Who's massively overrated? So I'm going to condense that down. It has to be in what we would call our starting 11. You can have some of the subs like Benjamin Sesko, people like that who are on the bench. There's 2 names that jump out to me for overrated, and I'm going to come back to them. The most underrated player at Manchester United. Let's see how this one goes down. This is not for clicks. This is, if you've watched enough of me, you know I rate him as a player. And he's still a Manchester United player, so I'm going to go for him. The most underrated player at United is Rasmus Hojlund. I feel if Rasmus Hojlund was playing for us this season, he would be in double figures. We didn't create him enough chances. He certainly hasn't had the right leaders behind the scenes, let alone on the pitch. Someone to grab hold of him and say, stop fighting with the centre-back, get yourself in the box, which it looks like Michael Carrick's done to Sesko. Sesko's getting in the box, he's finishing. He's getting 5-10 minutes at the end of a game and getting a goal. Most underrated player currently is Rasmus Hojlund. He's gone on loan. I think he's got up to he's in double figures now for Napoli in all games. I'm happy with the loan deal. We'll be getting decent money in for him. So he's gone on loan. He's done his job. So maybe he's not as underrated as people think, but I think he's forgotten about and they don't give him the credit. The most overrated player. I'm going to give you two. I can't decide between them. And they are definitely going to be... they're definitely going to divide opinion. The first one is Martinez. I think his ball playing ability out from the back is massively overhyped. Yes, he does play line breaking passes. I've seen Harry Maguire do that in the past, but now apparently it's got to go through him. Sometimes I would rather have a left footer passing me the ball, the left to right pass. It's just easier to control. It's very hard to break that down on here. Why? But it is. But the other player I think is massively overrated currently. Maybe some of you know who I'm going to say. And maybe some of you think it's going to be someone else. It is not Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes is a world-class player. He just doesn't have world-class discipline to go with that. Kobbie Mainoo. Kobbie Mainoo could be an exceptional 10. Kobbie Mainoo, in my eyes, is not an 8, and he definitely will never be a 6. And right now, we are blowing so much smoke up that boy's backside, shall we say. I don't think it's helping his career. I feel he has a lot to offer. I feel that he does what he does and he does it well. But the hype that's put on it, as if he's no different coming out the academy as the class of 92. But he's on that kind of level as a youth prospect coming up. We do overhype our young players. And I'm sorry to say that. It's true. JJ Gabriel, Obi, Shea Lacey, we call for them because they're coming through our academy. But the Man United academy doesn't make them the best in the world. You know, your Robbie Savages and people like that came through United academy, and we don't rate them highly as a player. Yet Nicky Butt came through the academy and he never really got a game, did he? At the end of the day, we had Paul Scholes and Roy Keane, and Butt just stood in when Keane was either suspended or injured. That's pretty much what he did. And he wanted to play football, so he went somewhere else and played football, you know, for Newcastle United. So, yeah. That pretty much wraps up the YouTube questions. Let's get them off the screen. I was hoping I would have got some questions in the chat. I did understand, obviously, me going live at 9 o'clock. Champions League games has finished. So I was hoping I would have got some people in that, but maybe there was a lot of different watch-alongs today. So I will look forward to seeing how many people I get in the morning. So that'll be interesting. Maybe this video was a flop. Let me know what you think. The more questions I get and the more interaction I have, then the better the shows will be. So if you can come on here and say, yeah, I didn't like it. There was hardly anyone talking. It was just you talking at the camera. then come get in the next show. I'll put it out scheduled. I'll put it in the community. Get yourselves on it. Have your say. Okay. But yes, I'm just having a look. We play obviously Monday night, so we've still got a bit to go. I will do a preview show before that. Now I'm just trying to think whether I will do it Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. So watch this space. Like I say, get yourself on the community tab. Get yourself with the bells turned on so you get all the notifications. Follow me up here on TikTok. You'll definitely see content going out there, so you'll know what I'm doing. Pop over there. It is a good laugh. Different content. Love seeing you guys over there and having your say on there as well. And up until then, keep an eye out. Follow me on X, guys. United Lens on X. Simple as that. And I will see you in the next show. So thank you for watching. If you've made it all the way to the end, you know what you can do. Hit the share, but most importantly, jump in those comments. Let me know what you thought. And I will see you all for the preview for the Everton game over the weekend. Take care, guys.